Hi everybody, this is Zach from the Hauk Family Candle Company. Thanks for joining us today. We're gonna do a pretty simple but pretty cool design today. We're gonna utilize these rocks style glasses with a round top and a square bottom. I really like these because they just remind me of like old-timey gentlemen sipping on some whiskey, which is not what we're gonna do today with them. No, we're gonna make a pretty simple candle design out of them. We're gonna make horizontal layers utilizing 3 different colors and 3 different fragrance oils that I think is gonna make not only a very visually pleasing candle, but an awesome mix of fragrance oils that's just gonna work really well with those winter months. So follow along with us and we'll see how this goes. The first thing we wanna do is we wanna wash our glassware. Now, there's 2 reasons why we like to make sure that our glassware is nice and clean. The first one is that when we first started doing this, we weren't washing our glassware. We just kind of assumed that it was clean and we poured our candles into it. We quickly found out that that is not true and it caused some problems. So that brings us to the second reason. When we learned that the way we were doing things was not ideal and was causing problems, we changed that. Because we want to do everything we can do in the best way that we can do it. So when we find out that something we're doing isn't the best way to do it or is actually detrimental to what we're trying to achieve, we make those changes.
As you can see, we added a couple of mason jars here. That's because I realized that I only had 3 of those cups and I wanted to do at least 5 candles. So we grabbed a couple mason jars just to make the pours easier, because it's more difficult to make smaller batches than it is to make bigger ones. So we did this. All right, now we're getting our first pour of wax ready. This is going to be a light brown color. So we're mixing a little bit of our cream color along with a little bit of black to get just a nice light brown color. And it's also going to have the cedar wood fragrance, which is a nice warm woody scent. We think it just is going to be a great starter for this candle here. And I always think it looks cool when we're putting the colors and the fragrances in before it mixes. As you see it just kind of sit in the wax and flow out. It always looks really neat. Now we're stirring it, and we always stir our wax for a minimum of 2 minutes just to make sure that everything gets mixed in just right. And now we're putting in our first pour here. This first layer is that brown that we just made with the cedarwood scent. It is going in, it looks really dark, but as it cures, it is going to lighten up quite a bit. It's going to look really neat. And again, we don't like to glue down our wicks, mainly because we like our glassware to be recyclable. We like it to be at a point where when you're done with the candle, you can reuse your glassware. So we kind of set the wicks where we think they'll be best. When we do our first pour, then we kind of come back and make sure that the bottoms are pushed into the right place, right where we want them, which is what you can see me doing here with our little stir stick. I'm just getting those bases put right in the nice center of where the candle's gonna be. This makes it so we don't have to use any kind of adhesive, and it makes it a lot easier for you to reuse the glassware when you're done burning the candle. Now we're gonna let these cure. As they cure, you're gonna see it get real nice and light, get that nice light brown color. I always think these time lapses are cool. This video's got a lot of them. Now we're gonna get our second layer of wax ready. This is gonna be a nice light green color, And it's gonna have our apple harvest scent, which our apple harvest scent is a nice sweet apple scent with hints of cinnamon. It's almost kind of reminds me of like an apple pie. I really like it, and I think it's gonna go really, really well with that cedar wood scent. Here we are stirring again. We always stir for a minimum of 2 minutes. You're welcome, we sped this up. And there's our second pour going in. And you'll see as this cures, it always goes in dark and it cures a lot lighter than it is. So it's really cool to see that nice bright green color come out of that as it cures. Now we're getting that last layer ready. This is gonna be a vanilla, and the nice thing about that is we use vanilla with white wax, and so we don't have to add any kind of color to it, because that's just the color of the wax. Now, I really like these layers, because they kind of create a pattern, and as you see, as we're gonna go, we're just gonna repeat the pattern. Humans are just naturally made to recognize patterns, and I always think that's really cool. It's been a useful tool for us in our slow climb from the mud to the stars. And as we've come to recognize patterns, I think the interesting thing is patterns let you kind of predict the future a little bit. If you recognize what has happened in the past, then you can make pretty safe assumptions of what's going to happen in the future. And that allows you to prepare for what's next and be sure that the outcome is positive for you.
All right, we've got our finished products here. We have our rocks glass style candle, which I really like how these layers turned out. It looks really cool. And we also have our mason jar style, which the interesting thing with our mason jar candles, I poured that top layer of wax a little bit too early, and the lower layer wasn't quite set, but it pushed the green through a little bit to the top, and we have these really cool designs on the top that, while we didn't do them on purpose, we're gonna call it a happy accident because they look really cool. I really like this design, not only because it looks kind of cool, but also because as the candle burns through each of the layers, the fragrance will continue to change and become more complex. And your nose really never has a chance to go nose blind to it. So for the entire time you have the candle, you're gonna be able to smell it, and it's gonna smell really good. I especially like this blend of fragrance oils that we're using. I think it's an excellent combination. Personally, I think it's great for the winter months, but it can really be used any time of year. When you start off with the vanilla, it creates just a nice, warm, welcoming scent. Then you start to get those hints of apple and cinnamon that's in our apple harvest, and then it gets finished and rounded out with that nice, warm, woody scent that goes with the cedar wood. It's just a great combination, and as it burns, it continues to change, and you get more of this and more of that, and it's just great. It's perfect for any space that you just want to make more warm and welcoming. So with that, thank you for following along with us. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to subscribe, and if you're interested in these candles and you like our candles, you can find them for sale in our online store. With that, why don't you just go out and be kind to someone today? It'll make their day, and it costs you nothing, and maybe it'll make your day too. So see ya.